Now, picture this. It's 2:30 in the morning for you, and as a hard-working member of society who just finished a 12-hour-long shift, you're ready to head home. So with your hurting feet, headphones in, and leftover dinner in the fridge, you arrive at the train station and wait for its arrival. But unfortunately, tonight's going to be a little different. You see, you won't make it onto that train. Your hurting feet will soon be the least of your concern, and although the new episode came out for your favorite TV show, you won't be seeing it. While you're scrolling through your social media and watching our YouTube videos, you didn't notice the altercation taking place further down the train station. And even if you did notice it, you decided to ignore it, because that's what most of us would do. As time goes on, the altercation comes to an end, and one of those individuals starts making their way in your direction. As the silhouette in your peripherals grows larger, you pay it no mind. Obviously, you're not involved, and it looks like the incident's been resolved. That is, until the person's walking turns into running, and before you can look up to see what's happening, you're shoved onto the ground and begin fighting for your survival. You see, as we go through our lives and daily routines, we sometimes forget that crazy shit happens. And while you're at your favorite speakeasy pounding mango mojitos, someone's going through the worst experience of their life. And in this case, it was a 78-year-old man from Oregon. On January the 4th, 2023, this 78-year-old man had his ear and part of his face chewed off at a train station. Now, that alone's enough to give anyone nightmares, but things get a little more bizarre. At just before 2:30 a.m., Gresham police responded to the Cleveland Avenue Max platform after receiving a call about a possible knife attack. But when they arrived, police didn't see any form of cutlery. Instead, they witnessed 25-year-old Corin Kramer gnawing on the victim's face. Police gave out commands for Kramer to stop, but their words fell on deaf ears. As a result, they had to use force to pry Kramer off of the victim. At the train station, Kramer stated that he attacked the victim because he thought the man was a robot trying to kill him. You see, Kramer knew the victim was a killer robot because he could smell it, and he even thanked police for saving his life by separating him from his elderly midnight snack. Now, this is clearly insane, and it brings up the obvious red flag that drugs were involved. So there's no surprise that in Kramer's case, he reportedly indulged in the holy trinity of weed, alcohol, and fentanyl pills, turning himself into a feral hyena with an appetite. As for our victim, he was hospitalized, listed in stable condition, and was expected to make a full recovery, although I believe the mental trauma he suffered far outweighs the physical injuries he sustained, and that road to recovery will be long and hard. Now, usually this is where the story ends. A crazy man fried off cornucopious amounts of drugs, mistaking an innocent person for a buffet. But unfortunately, it's not the end, because the internet never fails to deliver on weird shit. In 2012, a 31-year-old man high off bath salts eats 75% of his victim's face. In 2016, a 19-year-old college student storms out of dinner with his family and proceeds to kill and eat the face of his two victims. Now, these are only stories that happen in the United States, but if you look at other countries, this decadent indulgence of cannibalism continues. But why? Eating people is usually only reserved for the fringes of human society, an isolated tribe in the Amazon rainforest, or a disturbed Jeffrey Dahmer doppelganger, for example. But how does the seemingly average 19-year-old college student, or 31-year-old social worker, come to the decision of feasting on another person? An action that's instinctively irrational. You see, people don't shoot up drugs and decide to eat a steak dinner underwater. So why is it a common theme that when regular people have psychotic breaks, they resort to eating others? Now, I don't have the answers because I'm not a psychiatrist or a cannibal expert. But what I do know now is that after seeing these stories, the level of awareness to my surroundings has increased, even if it's only temporary. You see, I'm like everyone else. I see crazy stories that could have easily happened to me. It freaks me out for a few days. And then I'm back to my usual routine of ignoring my surroundings and thinking that if I mind my own business, I'm somehow immune to these random acts of violence. Every story has a lesson, and this one left me with a few days for food for thought. But soon I'll need my next meal, as do we all. So in the meantime, if you know any crazy cannibal face-eating stories, or have an interesting perspective on how to cope with knowing that you could be the next victim headlining a news article, tell us in the comments, and we'll see you in the next Lost Story.